So in her recording, she's seen talking to somebody, but nobody's there. Well, one of the strict rules about this elevator game, if the woman gets on the elevator, firstly, you can see her, you should not acknowledge her, you should not talk to her, you should not look at her, leave her alone. If she's there, she's not really there. She's like a demon.
Top Lobster Productions.
In the shadows of the ancient ones, they never went away. They're still here today.
Nephilim Death Squad. When the last trumpet sounds and the heavens crack, blah, 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 blah. Nephilim Death Squad. Nephilim Death Squad. Death Squad. Death Squad. Death Squad.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to take the graven images out. I don't like
the
them.
graven image of Jesus that is in our intro.
There's quite
Are we-
a few.
Are we not supposed to have that? I don't know what the rules are.
Do the intro.
All right. I am David Lee Corbo. Wait, no, this is Nephilim Death Squad. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobster, the guy who bought me this jacket.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Put the jacket back on the screen. Yeah.
It is a nice jacket. I'm all right, so right up front,
You did buy.
I bought them for myself. Guys,
It's cold in Florida. We have 2 days that we're allowed to wear this. Tomorrow's going to
Yeah.
be like 34 degrees.
Matt
too.
won't let us turn the heat on in the shop. But if
But
you
we did
guys
make a small fire.
subscribe to
Patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. All kinds of perks there. Early access to episodes. The community, the Telegram community, which is growing and bustling. Not sure if that's a word, but
Straight
there's
bussin'.
a straight busing. The community is straight busing. You can also get discount codes off of merchandise from toplobster.com, which is where all of our merch is housed. Let's put the one of Matt. I kind of miss him. Don't tell him I said
You
that.
do?
But yeah, look at it. Let's put his face on the screen. He's not brewing this. He's in Nazi Germany currently and won't be back for a couple of days. And so at least we have this shirt to keep us company and to make that face at us. Also, guys, early access to tickets to Bohemian Grove when they drop. And right now we're looking at, kind of the first week of March. We talked to Ed Mabry yesterday. Seems like he's a go. So this is all looking very good. Joining us today for the second time to talk about a woman who got lost in a water tower. No, it's more complicated than that. There's a lady in the water tower. We're going to talk all about that. It is Dani of the Rabbit Hole podcast. Before we get into the conversation, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
The Rabbit Hole Conspiracy Theories, basically wherever you are looking for a podcast, or the Rabbit.Hole podcast, everywhere social media wise. So
I can see that
TikTok.
you like. There's a girl thing, and the girl thing is having that innate ability to take your camera, put it in vertical, and do like a TikTok style video.
yeah, I think it's the bone structure.
I
Like,
think it is
my
because we
arm-
can't
That's-
do it, dude.
Okay, firstly, that's not what's happening. I'm taking my long form videos, I'm throwing it into Opus Clip and letting it do its thing, and then I just automatically post that onto social media. That's not true. Because
That's
sometimes
smarter
I
than
do.
us.
Sometimes I do like just take a video if I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to post on social media today. So then I'll like take a video and throw it up there. But most of the time I just put it in Opus Clip. Let it do all the work
We
for
have
me.
a shout out to it's not Vanessa. I keep accidentally calling her Vanessa. It's
Tiffany.
Tiffany. Shout out to
Yes.
Tiffany. That's
Wow.
embarrassing. Shout out to
That's not even
Tiffany.
close.
She helps us the same. It's practically the same name. She helps us with our social media. And the other day she was here and she goes, you know what? Why don't we just make like a clip right now? And I go like, okay. And then she just sits in the corner and lifts her phone up. And I swear to God, I've never been more nervous. I've been on stage with Sam
I would've
Tripoli,
been-
Owen Benjamin, and shit.
I would have been
like-
more comfortable if she was holding a gun.
yeah, dude. And she's like, so what's the show about? And I'm like, it's conspiracy and comedy. And so I don't know what that is. I can't make that short form content, but I guess that's what you need. So guys, go and follow Dani on all social medias. You promised us last time. And by the way, the last episode that we had you on, really well received. People really enjoyed it, or else we would have never invited you back.
Stop
but here
being
you
so
are.
mean.
No. I mean, I'm telling her it was a good
Is it
thing.
the jacket? You're being nasty.
It's hot. I'm
She's being a
sweating
little
already.
extra sassy today.
You know what it is? I'm a little bit. I had a lot of that Soda Stream before the,
He's jacked up on Mountain
I'm a
Dew.
little bit. There's no sugar in that. It's just carbonation.
Just straight Jewish carbonation.
But yeah, and it's made in Israel, and God bless him for that. So the last episode that we had you on was really great, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been the first episode we did in the new studio. I just remembered that.
Oh yeah.
I think it was. So we had just finished this, and it was like the next day, and we had you on, and we were talking about, I believe it was Atlantis, right?
Yeah.
Was it Atlantis?
Yep.
Yeah. Great episode, and you left us with a bit of a cliffhanger. You said, I don't know if it was on air, I don't know if it was afterwards.
You're right. That was the day. That was the Blue Letter debacle day.
Yeah, back when we were threatening the lives of everybody at Blue Letter Bible. And
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. We've patched things over, and
good.
God bless them. God bless Israel. But so what you were mentioning on the way out was this idea of the Cecil Hotel. I'm peripherally aware of it. I know there's a lot of mysterious circumstances surrounding a woman who kind of seems to be in distress, goes missing for a time, and then is found in really mysterious circumstances. And it's a fascinating one, goes viral all the time. I believe even my wife I caught her talking about it the other day. My wife. And I said, I'm going to do a show on that. How cool is that?
Oh, she knew about this?
She knew about this. I had a little bit of knowledge about it. I had heard about it because it's a fantastic story, and there's so many sort of loose ends, from the video footage of the woman. She seems to be in distress. Someone's following her to ultimately where they find her. A lot of folks probably already know. I don't want to bury the lead. I think I did at the start of the show.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Well, you're
Nothing
going
at
to learn
all.
something today.
This
Ooh.
is exciting. So where should we start in regards to this strange story?
I think that we should start with like the Cecil Hotel in general, because there have been so many people. It feels like a very demonic place because there's so many people there that have gone there and then committed. And in a lot of cases, they weren't before they stayed at the Cecil Hotel, and then they would just like show up and kill themselves. And you're like, okay, like what's happening here that like really caused it to be deadly? I don't really know. Like we were trying to figure out why people were going there to kill themselves. And a lot of people like chalk it up to, well, they went there. That was like an easy place to do it. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Especially like when you start to, I think there's been 34 confirmed deaths.
Whoa.
And so, why? Right? The Cecil Hotel, I mean, it was built in 1924. So I guess like statistically, maybe there could have been that many deaths and it was just like coincidence. Although here at the Rabbit Hole, we don't believe in coincidences. And I'm sure you guys probably have figured that too.
Would you say it was made in I'm looking at it.
1924.
So
is when it
already
was
by
built.
1927, you have the first recorded.
The first recorded death in 1927.
Damn, so it's only 3 years after that. I mean,
Yeah.
even that alone is pretty shocking. I mean, the place had only been around for 3 years.
Right. And
Are
then
you
you have
guys,
another one in 31 and 32 and 34, 37. Like you've got deaths. Like it feels like every year you have at least one.
That's interesting.
Are you guys aware of the Cove?
No, I'm not
What is
familiar
that?
with that.
I don't remember the location, but there was like a certain cove. It was like off of a pit stop, and people would go there and not at all and just get the inclination to jump off the ledge. And I think the authorities determined that it had something to do with the acoustics of this area. So because it was a cove, and when people were in it, it made them behave in a certain way that wanted to.
Were
they
there
wanted to do
sirens
this.
there?
Ooh, that's interesting.
I don't know. I know that what they did was demolish the mountain that was creating this like acoustic, supersonic, whatever kind of vibrations, and they say that it ceased.
There
So
is some sort of psychological thing, right? When people get to a bridge and they're like, I wonder what. I think that most people have had this thought where you get to a bridge and you're like, I wonder what would happen if I jumped off.
Sure.
every time.
Yeah. Well, I remember now what you were talking about. It is, there was an acoustic property. They actually had to like alter the rock formation because of the way that like frequency was amplifying in this rock formation. It was producing this harmonic that was somehow associated with like extreme depression.
Yeah.
That's
So it
interesting.
was the sirens.
I mean, in some way, I guess you could say that. Yeah. It's the
I mean,
same
isn't that
thing,
what
right?
they
I
were
mean, if
doing?
you-
Right?
Yeah, they're luring ships into crashing into rocky coves, right? And this
So I
is
feel like-
specifically a cliff formation. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
It's in Big Sur Coast, California. So
That tracks.
yeah, it was like a steep, rocky inlet near the cliffs, and for some reason, I guess like the rock formation was creating these like supersonic vibrations that people would drive them into deep depression. People who otherwise weren't, and I guess they saw the cliff and they were like, yeah, why not? And they would just do that, and it became such a problem that they had to alter the rock, like the rock formation, like knock some of the stuff down, which is kind of strange, but. I don't know. It reminded me of that. Maybe something's going on with the structure of how they built this hotel, intentional or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I kind of, like, personally, I'm leaning towards more like almost like a portal to hell. Because, like, you have these people committing, like, that's not the way that you're supposed to die. And so, like, is this a place where, like, the devil's collecting souls?
That's an interesting thought.
It seemed odd to me because you have, like I said, you have so many different deaths. I mean, I have them all, like, I have a bunch of them laid out, but like we said, like 1927 was the first one, and then you have 31, 32, we skip 33, you get 34, 37, 38, 39, 40. In 40,
Every year like that?
yeah, and then in 44, the lady killed her son, her baby. 47, 54, 62, another one in 62. Actually, it was like a dual death. That one was actually kind of interesting. They're all interesting. But this lady, she was arguing with her husband. She left the room, or he left the room, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I'm messing up the whole story. So she left saying, like, she was going to go take her life. And so she left, she jumped from the building, from the top of the building, and then she landed on this guy who was just, like, walking on the ground, like, next to the hotel, and ended up killing him, too.
Jeez. That's
Like
really
a
strange because
65-year-old guy.
if you think about it, in you know, typically it's like, what comes first? Is it like the suicides or like the supernatural sort of energy from like one event? But like this thing is only 3 years old, you know, because I'm kind of thinking like if something spooky happens in it, like let's say there's a murder or whatever in a house, that might lead to like future hauntings, and then you might go into that and be like, oh, the energy of this place is off,
Right.
or it's this or it's that. This place was 3 years old.
Yeah.
So is it built on like I'm looking it up. There's no mention of. I went for the cliche.
Where is the location?
Los
It's-
Angeles.
Yeah, it's near Skid Row. Or it's on Skid Row,
That's
actually.
interesting.
Yeah. So now,
It's
like,
on Skid Row?
Yeah, so it's been boarded up and like not functional for several years now. There's been talk that they're gonna renovate it and somebody's like gonna buy it, but like it goes back and forth. It's on Skid Row.
That's interesting. I'm wondering. We've talked about Skid Row, Los Angeles, powers and principalities, whatever spirit has like dominion over that part of Los Angeles. Has
But in the
a
20s
very-
when it was built, was that even a thing? Not yet, right?
Well, I mean, how far is Hollywood near? I don't know. Geographically retarded. Is Hollywood near Los Angeles?
Hollywood's
I don't-
in Los Angeles.
Just because
I
I
don't know
know
much
like
about
that
LA.
time is a really strange time for the development of Hollywood. It being,
Right.
I guess, its inception is basically like the early 1910s. And then by 1920 you have was it 1920 the Cecil Hotel was erected?
1924,
27.
yeah.
24.
27's when the first recorded. There could have been
heavy.
suicides before that we just don't, like, they didn't record, we didn't know about.
That's a very heavy time for California.
It's all. I mean, this also might not have anything to do with it, but it's 1 degree north of the 33rd parallel, which
That's
is
interesting.
That's
Is
something
really
that I like.
interesting.
Yeah, I always look at that, whether it's like something is on or around. Seems like the things that are on have more proclivity to have supernatural properties, but still, I mean, if that is like a thin area within on the Earth, the 33rd parallel, things around it will still attract. But I don't know.
When does this place get shut down?
So you have some serial killers that come in and out.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So in like 1984, 85, Richard Ramirez, like the Night Stalker, and who is
yeah.
a satanic worshiper, right? He was living in the Cecil Hotel while he was like on his murder spree.
That's right. I remember learning that
So-
because I think we watched the Night Stalker documentary because for whatever reason.
So he lived there for a while, which is, and like obviously he never killed himself, but in that situation, but like it's interesting that he was attracted to the hotel. Have you seen American Horror Story Hotel, like that season?
Oh, that was one of the early ones, wasn't it?
It was like season 3 or 4, I think.
I think I might have. I watched like I think I stopped watching for American Horror Freaks show because I found everybody
Yeah.
so ugly in the circus that I couldn't. None of them were likable. You need to at least have some.
But each
remotely
season's different,
likable.
so you could just like watch a new season.
I know, but then they did the Lady Gaga thing too, and I
That's
was
the
like,
one.
That's
She was
the
on-
one.
yeah,
I was
that's the one that
upset
she
with
was on.
that because I don't like her because I think she's
I thought she did a fine job. Like she's a good person to cast for this because she's already so like satanic and like demonic. That's
Exactly.
like
That's
perfect
it.
for the hotel. But that season is based loosely on the Cecil Hotel.
interesting. That makes a lot of sense now. Okay.
And so like it's very like demonic. Like it feels like they're collecting souls. Like the souls are living there.
Yeah, and isn't there some element where like all of these people become not just collected, but they're all I mean they're kind of trapped there in the same way that
Yeah.
you might look at The Shining with that hotel when you have like the spirit of the twins and
The
things
Stanley
like
Hotel, yeah.
that. Yes,
The
yeah,
Stanley
yeah.
Hotel isn't actually haunted though.
No,
Like,
but what I mean to
they
say
really
is like
play it up if you ever go there. Like they really play it up. But yeah, like that, the same concept, right?
exactly. So they're and then you would see so the hotel has collected them.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting when we were talking about like the Earth
But like
being
Ghost
a
Ship,
character. Oh,
Have you seen
Ghost
the
Ship
movie
is a great
Ghost
one
Ship?
too. Yeah, yep.
yeah, where they're collecting all the souls on the boat.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting idea there. Huh.
But also on the same, like not everybody that goes there dies. So it kind of makes you want, because you would think that if this is where I go back and forth, because if that many people are dying, they maybe collecting souls is the purpose. But you look at it and not that many people. I mean, yes, that many people in the grand scheme of things, but you don't have like multiple deaths a year.
Right, but you do have
And you do,
thousands of
it's-
people coming in and out per year, right? So
Right.
like in that
Yeah, statistically.
your
statistically, it's
statistics-
not a significant thing.
Right. So I think, I don't know, I go back and forth with it because like maybe it's paranormal, maybe it's demonic, maybe it's like anybody that's already having kind of a bad day, it like really sucks on that and like causes you to go over the edge.
Yeah, I think that the truth of the matter is if it is a demonic thing, at any given moment, we're in spiritual soup, right? There's
Yeah.
so much going on around us that we can't see, and there are things that don't have rights and don't have access to us, while other things might for something that we did or something that was, generationally passed on to us, what have you. Not everything that inhabits a spiritual realm has access to you, and some people have less that is
Right.
given over to the demonic realm than others
then
do. So yeah, I could see.
I
just
thought
pass
the
it.
question, like if believers are going and staying there, maybe they're not being targeted. Like maybe it's non-believers that are being targeted.
It's interesting. I mean, I would say
Like, I
that
don't
it
know.
likely comes down to a number of things, right? Like what sort of rights do these things have over you? What sort of entities are you in agreement with? What sorts of things are attached to you via some hitchhiker thing from generational iniquity? Like there's a whole plethora of stuff. And I think that everybody has their bag looks a little bit different. So,
Do we know who was like the builder or funder for this?
oh, that's
hotel?
interesting.
Yeah, so William Banks Hanner, Charles
Hanner.
Dix, and Robert Shops.
William, any of
There were
them
like
do-
3 hoteliers that all came together to build this.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, prime
Yeah.
location, right? Los Angeles
So-
during that time.
Yeah, and it was like initially built for business travelers and tourists. It was designed by Loy Lester Smith, who also designed the City Club building, or like it's now known as the Primrose Design Building.
Interesting.
And it's supposedly absolutely fireproof
Really
as of 1924 when they built it.
So filled with asbestos.
nice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if that plays
totally.
any role in anything.
But it was really nice. Like they built this thing and it was supposed to be like this beautiful hotel. It was 14 stories tall, which was a really tall hotel back then. Like it had 700 rooms. It's gorgeous, or it was gorgeous. So here it is. It saw a spike through the 1940s. No, there was a decline after the 1940s because of Skid Row becoming increasingly dangerous. So when it was built in a good part of town, and Skid Row really wasn't coming up to be like a bad part of town until like the 1950s.
You know what's weird? The fact that it's specifically 14 stories tall, but hotels notoriously skip the 13th floor.
But I don't think this hotel did. They didn't then. They started doing that because there was that hotel in New York. Which one was it? That people kept killing themselves on the 13th floor or dying on the 13th floor. Like something weird was happening.
Huh.
I can't remember.
wonder.
I should do an episode on that one too.
Because that's a weird. I never understood that. Is that just superstition? Like, why on earth was it?
No, because there was like an actual
commonplace to do
hotel
that?
in New York, and I think it started in New York because so many people. It was superstition, but so many people were killing themselves.
Huh. And then so it birthed out of that.
From what I understand, I don't know.
All
I
right.
could be completely wrong. I've done no research into this.
I think I have it right here. So let's see. Well, this is, it's common to skip labeling the 13th floor on a high-rise building, especially hotels and residential towers in the United States and other Western countries due to widespread superstition. What the hell kind of word is that? Triskaidekaphobia. I think I actually nailed that.
Triskaidekaphobia, the fear of the number 13.
That's wild. To incorporate
Yep.
that into, I mean, there's no, let's be honest, there's no change in architecture. Really, all it is just
There's still, yeah.
the lack of labeling, you know. So, but I mean, just to incorporate that at all, it just seems like a thing that you wouldn't do.
Yeah, I think that it's like a security blanket.
Huh.
Yeah,
know,
it probably affected sales. It probably,
Right,
people
because nobody wants to
probably
stay on the
stay.
13th floor.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to buy a house where there was a murder kind of a deal.
It has
Yeah.
like I think it has its roots back to like Judas being the 13th person at the feast, like so
Yeah.
betrayal, death, things like this, and that. It's kind of funny how that works its way into the zeitgeist and in people's mind, where you have architects not labeling the 13th floor. It's kind of crazy.
The fear of 13. Oh, that was a movie and everything. Supposedly unlucky nature of the number 13. Tarot
13th
cards
constellation.
also deal with this. That's interesting. The 13th constellation. That's right. We just learned about that.
And then it makes me wonder, is that why there's not 13 months?
Well, I actually heard that recently. Like every month is supposed to be 28. I won't do the math because I'm an idiot. But every
I
month
did a
is
whole
supposed to
episode
be.
on that.
Is that true? So every month is supposed to be 28 days long, and with that, you have a remainder that's enough to make a 13th month. Mm-hmm. And
But
then there is a 13th constellation with it, which is Ophiuchus.
Yeah. But like our year wouldn't look the way it does, but we also wouldn't have the leap year either. But if you look at like different things in nature, I know we're getting off topic with this,
No,
but it
that's
makes
fine.
sense. Like turtles, if you look at their back, their outer ring has 13 slots, or no, their outer ring, has 28 slots, and their inner section has 13. Like when you pull up like a picture of a turtle shell, if you think of like a woman's cycle, it's 28 days. If you think of like a moon cycle, everything can line up together. But
And if you look at, like, the Bible says that the sun and the moon were put in the sky as luminaries to basically track time, to keep time.
Exactly.
And also the stars and everything for signs as well. But I think about that often. Like we were just talking to, I know this is a little bit of a deviation, but we were talking to Ed Mabry yesterday, and it was kind of like, these things that have happened over the last year, because as we sit here today, it's December 30th. And so, and one of them was that there was supposed to be this big rapture that happened, September 20th to the 24th, I think was the window, something to that effect. And it just makes me wonder, like, how effective is any of our ability to predict something based off of a time or a day, when does that removal of a 13th month and a 13th constellation and all these different things, like, does that really screw up our timekeeping in any meaningful way? I mean, it seems like it would.
You saying we're in the little season?
I think we're in the little season. No. But I mean, it's an interesting thought, because is that true? I don't want to Google that, but you said you've done an episode on it. If we were to make every month 28 days, then we would have a remainder of enough to make an additional 28-day month? Is that the idea?
Not exactly. So our year would look a little bit different, but also like because we have a leap year every 4
Yeah.
years, that would not be necessary anymore.
Yeah, that seems retarded. The
So
leap
I
year
went
thing
into-
seems retarded.
It's been a while since I did this episode, so I don't remember all the different things about it. But like I went into like how the calendar was created and why it looks the way it does now, and then what the purpose of like removing the 13th month was. It doesn't make any sense, but I guess somebody somewhere thought that this was what we should do.
I wonder maybe I could find it. What was the 13th month called? I bet you had a banger
It was
of a
Sol,
name, dude.
SOL.
Soul, that's a good month.
And it was supposed to be in between June and July.
Dang.
So it'd be
We would've
January,
had a
February,
longer
March,
summer.
April, May, June, Sol, July, August, September. Because then Oct, and actually, no, because the year wouldn't start in January. The year was
Would
never
start in
supposed to
April.
start in January. Exactly. So
Yeah.
then like October, being the 8th month, November being the 9th month, December being the 10th month is what was supposed to happen.
Makes sense. Yeah, this is where you get April Fools from as well.
Exactly. Yep.
I
So
wonder,
the year isn't supposed to start in January.
I mean, there's no way to know it. I can't help but wonder about all the things that would change of our understanding of time and seasons ourselves even, right? If we had stuck to that original 13 months kind of a deal. I don't know. I wonder what that
We're like
screwed
30.
up.
Technically, we're 33% behind. If our year is supposed to start, that's a weird number.
That's a weird number.
Our year is supposed to start in April 1st. So that's 4 months. Yeah, that's I don't like it.
That's interesting. It is. It's 33. Oh man. All right.
But also that's
strange.
Supposedly, in some of the research I found, like that's when Jesus was supposed to be born. Because some people argue it's supposed to be in the fall or in the spring, but the spring makes more sense to me because that's like also like new birth, and that's when like everything's blooming, and that's when everything's supposed to be coming back to life. Is like you went through all the dark of winter, now everything's coming to life, and that's when life is born again. Is April or like March, April, May timeframe. So that makes more sense that that's when Jesus would be born versus like
That's interesting.
December 25th.
Yeah, wasn't it Ed that was like, if Jesus was born in December 25th, this little baby in a manger would have like froze.
Most
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
died.
The shepherds wouldn't have their sheep out as well. It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
Oh,
It's a
that's
whole thing.
That's interesting.
There's so many things. It like doesn't make any sense for it to be Jesus' birth, and so we celebrate it, but we just don't celebrate it like that.
I think that's a remarkable thing. The idea that like Christ would return and go like,
got my birthday wrong.
wow, you got all fucked up. I mean,
couldn't
this
even
is
get my
like,
birthday
it's not
right.
even the month you think it is. Like, damn,
not
that's
even close.
interesting too. When you think about that verse that talks about the man of perdition seeking to confuse times,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what was it? It was like times and something else. Times would be pretty effectively confused right now. It would be, man, I'm sure somebody out there is screaming, "It's the little season." But shut up, guys. All right, so let's get back to this. So, where does the story start for this particular? Because we know there's like a bunch of suicides. It's a really strange place. I was looking it up. There's, obviously when you get that many suicides, you're going to have a lot of paranormal investigators and, huge supernatural activity off the charts. This is a weird place. Maybe
Very weird place.
One
It's
degree
got,
off
like-
the third parallel.
Yeah, everything about it is really weird. So then you have Elisa Lam's murder. Was it a murder? I don't know. Okay. There's some question marks. And I think this is why like so many women have heard about it, because women are notoriously attracted to
Obsessed
true
with
crime.
murder.
Obsessed with murder. We can murder you if we need to. We know
Yeah,
how.
dude, that's what I'm like. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm looking at my wife. My wife, she's watching all this stuff. I'm going, are you training?
Oh yeah.
Are you training? Like,
By
what's
the
going
way,
on?
Danny, I'll have you know that half of our audience is females.
That's crazy. I don't
it's
know what's
crazy. So
happening.
they're gonna
That's
love
amazing.
this episode.
Yeah.
I have more
That's
male
bizarre.
listeners.
I mean, it's
Like,
60-40.
that's so
It's not
interesting.
quite half, but it is. It's huge.
It's close,
It's a
yeah.
lot. It's
I think
more
I'm
surprising.
about
But they do
60-40
like that
too.
stuff. My wife likes stuff about murder, and also if there's rape, even better.
Oh my God! With the rape,
I can't do it.
with
I
the
don't-
rape, dude.
I love to listen to true crime. Actually, so when I was thinking about starting a podcast, I was like, I should start a true crime podcast, like every middle
I mean, you
20s,
do what
early
you
30s.
enjoy listening to, right? Or
woman.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's so crowded. Like, there's everybody starting a true crime podcast. So I was like, what else do I like? And I was like, well, I'm really interested in conspiracy theories. Who would listen to me talk about conspiracy theories? That seems crazy.
They are adjacent. They are adjacent, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
there's a conspiracy here. Someone plotted to do a thing, throw
Yeah.
their wife down the stairs, whatever. And so, yeah, I can see how the two would. I just can't. I watch it. You know what's funny about that, actually? People look at me all the time and they're like, dude, how do you look at the things you look at all the time? Isn't it depressing? And I go like, not at all. But then when I watch women watch true crime, I'm like, how do you watch that shit all the time? Isn't it depressing? So I guess I gotta
I'm double dipping. I'll get in the car, listen to true crime, murder, all the way to and from dropping my kids off at daycare, and then I get here and I look up conspiracy theories, and I'm like, the whole world's burning. Then I get back in the car to listen to more true crime as I go get the kids from daycare.
That's crazy. What a crazy life. I mean, I guess I get it.
She's going through it right now.
Call somebody. I need help.
All right. So what was
So
her name
that's
again? This woman?
Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam.
Elisa Lam. Okay.
Yeah, so she died. It's probably the most famous death at the Cecil Hotel. And this is kind of what like got everybody on this train, like, we need to look into this hotel. Then they started finding all these other deaths, and that's when, like, really conspiracies got out of control. So we should start with the fact that her autopsy shows no signs of any physical or sexual assault at all. Yep, this is what she looks like. This was so in 2013.
Looks like Nancy. What's her name? Lisa.
Elisa Lam.
Elisa Lam. Okay.
Yeah.
Elisa. Yep. So they basically ruled her death an accidental drowning and they noted that she has bipolar disorder, and that's probably what led to this. So her sister, when she was missing, her sister's like, she's not here, we can't find her, she has mental health issues. So they went into this already with that, like, thought in their head, like, oh, she's just psychotic.
Okay.
Which, yes, bipolar disorder, you have, like, manic episodes, but to me, maybe that's what was happening, maybe something else.
Well, on this show, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I've gotten to the point now where through all of our research, not only do we suspect that a lot of mental illness, and I almost used to scoff at people that would say this, and now I'm like, oh, okay, I think this is actually the case, is some form of spiritual oppression. And then on the flip side of the coin, so much of the mental health apparatus in America is actually birthed out of, our intelligence agency's own interests in human psychology and how to manipulate it. And so many of these original programs for therapists and psychologists were set up as a selection process to find individuals who would be a good fit for certain programs. And when those programs yielded good fruit, they would start to free range them.
Yeah.
They would implement them at scale. And so where they would keep you in a lab to give you disassociatives, they're now prescribing you a disassociative drug and keeping, tabs on you that way. That way the government doesn't have to actually pay to keep you in some facility somewhere. You can go out, be a wage slave, multitasking, and also, be on disassociatives and they keep, sort of a distant, keep you on a long leash, essentially. So when I hear Elisa Lam has a history of bipolar disorder, I already am going to a place where I go, her demons probably played really well with whatever spiritual oppression was happening in this hotel.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, okay, so this is one of the most famous pictures, right? So you got this picture of her in an elevator. And this is where a lot of people are like, what was she doing in the elevator? Because that is also the final and only appearance of her in the hotel. Like, we know she's there, but there's like this gap in time where we don't know where she is. We don't know what's going on. So the elevator is where we're seeing most of her, like, footage. And she's doing some really weird things. She gets out of the elevator, she gets back in the elevator, she's pressing random buttons, and people are like, what the heck is she doing in the elevator? What we've kind of decided is that we think that she was probably playing the elevator game. This game is so interesting. So it's a South Korean game where you're kind of messing with the supernatural. So you're trying to get to another dimension is kind of what they're saying. You have to play the game alone. You have to play it in a building that has 10 floors or more because you have to be able to go up to the 10th floor. And most people play this game at night because there won't be people getting on and off the elevator. Because if people get on and off the elevator, the game is over. You're done. You have to play it alone. So I have it pulled up here because I didn't have it in my notes. You have to press the buttons in a certain order. So when you call the elevator, you have to press the up button, not the down button. And then you get on the elevator, you press the 4th floor. So every single time, whatever floor you get to, you don't get off. You're supposed to just stay on the elevator. So you press the 4th floor, you get there, and then you press the 2nd floor, and then you go to the 6th, then you go back to the 2nd, then you go to the 10th floor, and then you go to the 5th floor. On the 5th floor, a woman may or may not get on the elevator with you. So in her recording, she's seen talking to somebody, but nobody's there. Well, one of the strict rules about this elevator game, if the woman gets on the elevator, firstly, you can see her. You should not acknowledge her. You should not talk to her. You should not look at her. Leave her alone. If she's there, she's not really there. She's like a demon. I say it wrong every time. Somebody yelled at me for that one time.
I say woman wrong. You're good.
He's when he says women plural, he says woman,
Whatever.
and it just vexes me.
Does demon get you?
No, I heard
like
it and I was prepared to ignore it, and I'm glad you addressed it. But please
I say
continue.
it. I really try to say it right. But they say that she's like this entity that's like evil. And then you keep going. At any point, if you want to stop the game, you need to go to the 1st floor, you need to go to the 10th floor, you need to get off, and you're done. But you should not talk to the woman that gets on the elevator if she gets on the 5th floor. Well, Elisa is seen talking to somebody on the elevator footage, but she's not, like, nobody's actually there. So then that kind of lends to that's where I'm leaning more towards the elevator game theory, is because I think that by her talking to that, then she got, I wouldn't say possessed, but like haunted.
Do we have
She
any
broke
idea?
the rules of this game.
She broke the rules.
Do we have any idea of the? I mean, you can see her. I'm looking at the video here.
Mm-hmm.
She's selecting all the floors.
Yeah, she's
know what I
going up
mean?
and down, and she gets on and off the elevator, which is where I'm like, well, was she actually playing the elevator game? Because you're not supposed to get off. But if
Yeah.
you play it right, when you go to the 10th floor, like at some point you go to the 10th floor, if you get off, you're in a different dimension.
That's interesting. And in your research, have you found any explanation for the sequence of floors?
No.
That's bizarre. Because it makes you wonder, like, how do people come up with this sort of a thing? You know, like it sounds very much like a Bloody Mary, right? Where it's like, how on earth do you come up with the sequence of events to do a Bloody Mary?
Yeah.
You know, it's bizarre to me. Maybe we can pull this up. Did I share this top? Yeah, let's pull this up. I want to show a little bit of this footage here. Because it is bizarre. You can look at her behavior, and you haven't seen this before, right, Top?
No, you know what? As I'm looking at the picture, though, I have seen this picture.
So check this out.
And people will be like, well, that's just her mental illness playing.
Right. So you could dismiss this as a manic episode or something, but she gets on very deliberately here. She's pushing several floors, but then watch this. I mean, she stands in the corner, and she seems to be. Watch.
But this is weird too, because the elevator door doesn't close for a really long time.
That's very strange too. But
Yeah.
look at her. She's looking around, pokes her head out, looks back and forth, hiding in the corner by the door.
Like almost like she's hearing something out in the hallway, because the way that she looked out in the hallway, and she keeps like peeking around, like looking to see if somebody's after her, or if she's like playing hide and seek.
I mean, when you know that this is a woman who met her demise relatively shortly after this video, this is the last time she's seen on video, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It makes it so much stranger. I mean, look at this is bizarre. She's stepping out. She's stepping sideways forward in some sort of little sequence.
But also, how come the elevator door has not tried to close this entire time?
That is a great question.
Not even once has that elevator door attempted to close. And elevator doors don't stay open this long.
No, they don't. And she's
No.
not pressed the buttons, not since she's gotten on the
Nope.
elevator.
Yeah,
The
now
whole
it's like
time we've been talking, that door's open.
that's way too long for the door to stay open. Before I was like, all right, she's putting her foot in, but now she's completely outside of it.
And the elevator's still open.
You can see
was-
part of her dress. She's just
Yep.
standing there.
And some people think, oh, well, she's schizophrenic, but she wasn't diagnosed with schizophrenia. She was diagnosed with bipolar, and bipolar doesn't make you act. I mean, you could get manic, but like this. I mean, I don't know that much about bipolar. Maybe it's true. I don't know.
I mean, you know, like once again in our research, and most of it is done with the what would you call it? The sort of the guidance of a clinical psychologist named Dr. Jerry Marzinski. You know, it seems as though it's demonic oppression much more, and given the fact that the medical industry as it stands has no handle on this, is not treating people successfully by any means. We have what's known as a mental health crisis.
So it's been like 2 minutes and she's gone nowhere.
She's gone
Yeah.
nowhere.
She's
She's
just kinda-
standing outside of the elevator right now.
She's just dancing or something. Yeah, this is bizarre.
Very strange.
It's almost like she's waiting for somebody. You know?
Yeah, the chat is saying, look at her hand movements. I mean, she's doing a lot of bizarre hand gestures. She came back in moments ago and pressed the same buttons again. But here we go. It's like this elevator is still just wide open.
It's like beckoning her to come back in.
This is bizarre, man.
Okay.
Yeah, let's so the running theory is that this is a Korean.
I mean, that's one of the theories. There's so many different theories, right? So that's
Oh, by the way, the elevator door just closed. It took 3 minutes. Exactly 3 minutes. It
minutes.
actually closed at the 3 minute mark, yeah.
so okay, but isn't there a way? This is me playing devil's advocate here. Is there a way that you can press buttons on the elevator to keep the door open?
Probably.
So is that what she was doing? But also, then why would you get in and hide? Like, was she playing hide and seek with somebody? Like, she's hiding in one corner, and then she's hiding in the other corner. She's like jumping in, she's jumping out, she's looking all around. Like, there's so many things it could be.
I mean, it's just an added layer on a very strange situation. Once again, it's like when this ends in someone's death,
Yeah.
and we'll get into the circumstances of that, super mysterious. So it's a very unique death. Everything, I think, deserves scrutinization. You know,
Yeah.
you kind of scratch your head at every little detail,
It's-
and it's like chock full of little bizarre details.
This sort of reminds me of this like a rudimentary way of rando nodding. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, that's
No.
interesting.
That's something that that's what Nick Hinton got sort of known for.
And that's why he won't come on our show.
I mean, maybe. So yeah, the guy Nick Hinton, he's actually a pretty fascinating
He
dude.
is, he is.
But there was a phone app, I believe it was like either a computer website or a phone app, maybe both. And I don't know, like it was like some sort of quantum computing. You'd put it in and it would spit out location. for you.
Random GPS coordinates.
Yeah, random GPS location coordinates, and it was your choice whether you would go to them or not. And when you go there, what you discover. And then there was like a Reddit forum type chat of people doing this, going to these places, and then just reporting what they find. And sometimes nothing. Sometimes these places were significant. Sometimes like dead bodies.
Yeah.
Sometimes like treasure. Some people were getting in a lot of trouble with it.
They
And
would go and have mysterious communications with people that seemed to just say something that was hyper relevant and could have only been relevant to that person.
Weird.
And yet a random GPS coordinator sent them there. Or
well, it was a quantum computer that was spitting out GPS coordinates for them to go to, and then
That's really
the peop-
interesting.
Yeah. So, but this feels like that in a way, but like on a vertical level.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're going up and down to certain spots to kind of like unlock this code of what will happen.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a number of things, but like the whole thing is weird. Like the way that she's acting is weird. And then like there were people staying in her room. They obviously expressed their concerns. They're like, she's acting weird. Something's up with her. But it makes you wonder, could, like, if she does have bipolar or whatever other mental illness that they've decided to brand her with, could she see something that maybe everybody else couldn't see?
young chick, by the way, would have been 22, I
Yeah.
think, right? Yeah, 22 years old. So she was born in 91. This is not this is a real young millennial. This is a millennial. Fascinating.
So, of course, like, she went missing. That's the last video that we have of her, is like this weird, erratic elevator video. So they call the police. The police do an extensive search of this place. They search the roof. This is very important. They have search dogs. They search everywhere. And they do not find her. She's missing.
Is there footage of her leaving the hotel?
No. That's the only footage we have is what we just saw.
So what about
her in the
footage from
elevator.
the lobby?
We don't have anything from that. We
That's
don't have
bizarre.
any evidence of her leaving. But we also don't have any evidence of it, obviously, of her going to the roof or of her going back to her room. We just have that elevator video. So like
And
she
on
basically
that,
vanishes after
Whoa.
that.
This is really weird. I'm scrubbing through the rest of that video, and it's there's a minute left after that. Mm-hmm. She doesn't get back on, but the doors just open and close, open and close, open and close several times on their own.
That is normal elevator behavior, I think.
Is that?
You can program an elevator to do that. But
just strange
actually,
because it-
but on one floor though, you think that it would like
Oh no. Okay, so I see that's interesting. So it actually does then go through the cycle of all the buttons that she pressed. I can see every time it opens, the door that it sees is a different color. So it is on a different floor. So what he sees is this. She steps off, and then there is no footage from the lobby of her leaving. There's no footage anywhere of her at all. I mean, I got to imagine
That's
there's maybe there's no cameras in the hallways. I guess that maybe that is normal.
I try to like think because 2013 doesn't seem like that long ago, but were there as many cameras as there are now? But you'd think in a hotel they would at least have cameras like in hallways and in the lobby as well. Right? Like if
Especially on Skid Row.
Yeah, like if people are starting to like I don't know, vandalize the place or they're trying to break into different rooms, they're trying to do different things, like you're going to want to try to catch them.
Yeah, we're talking about a famous hotel in Los Angeles. Like this is kind of seems like a place. I mean, I'm pretty sure a Best Western out here would have some hallway cameras, but I mean, nevertheless, I guess there isn't, or else we would have some sort of footage unless they kept that for some reason. I'm sure after this, they probably decided to install some hallway cameras.
Well, they ruled her death accidental because of drowning. So if if they do have the evidence, I don't know. Like the case is closed, so I don't know why they wouldn't release that now. You know what I'm saying?
So, I mean, all right, accidental because of drowning, because she somehow gains access to the roof. I don't know what this situation looks like. I don't know if there's a padlock. I know I used to work
they need a key card to get up there, and if you like shimmy it and try to get in, then alarms go off. So you can't just have access to the roof.
So she needed a key card to get up there.
Yeah. Or she could, I guess, from what I'm understanding, she could have broken in, but an alarm would have sounded.
So then
Even
the only
being
thing,
in the stairwell to get to the roof door would have sounded an alarm.
it's one of those doors where you push on it and
Everything sounds,
you see
right.
those when you're in staircases. So there's an alternative option, which is she scaled the outside of the building. She is a small Asian woman. Maybe maybe that's in her skill set. I don't know, but
Maybe.
that's a hell of a. This is a 14-story. Does that constitute skyscraper? 14 stories. I mean, it's a damn big building.
It's tall. That's
yeah.
tall.
And
And we
this-
don't know, like, at what point was she on the outside of the building trying to get up? But you have to remember that, so she went missing, and they didn't find her for 3 weeks, and they searched the roof. And I think they secured the roof pretty securely because so many people had already jumped off the roof on different occasions. Like people were jumping
That's
off
a
the roof
good
to
point.
commit. So they knew that the roof needed to be pretty secure.
That's an excellent point. A building that 3 years into its inception, almost annually, there's a for the next decade or so, and then since then it's only continued. Would more than likely make an effort to keep people from going up to the roof. I'm sure
Right.
by 2013 they were aware. These people tend to off themselves here.
And likely they didn't have opening windows anymore by 2013.
Yeah, I
I
would
mean,
agree.
okay,
that would
but
be
also
something you would
it's
do.
an older building, so some older hotels do still have opening windows, but they don't open all the way. They secure them to where they only open a smidge. So I don't know specifically about the Cecil Hotel if the windows were fully secured, but by 2013, most hotels did not have opening windows,
Interesting.
especially
Huh.
at 14 floors. And a hotel with a history of, you're not going to have windows that open. You're not going to have
Yeah.
access to the roof.
And in like you said, in 2013, this is like something that's pretty standard. You're not going to go to a hotel that is 14 stories tall in 2014 and easily gain access to, the roof or open the windows. I mean, everything by that point was pretty well locked down to avoid that sort of thing.
But
And-
nonetheless,
Yeah.
she ends up there.
Yeah, she ends up there. Well, so they don't even realize that. So for 3 weeks, they're like, we don't know where she went. She's just vanished, missing, gone. So they're looking for her. At that point, I think that they have decided that maybe she's not at the hotel anymore because the investigation, the search of the hotel has kind of concluded. After the first initial search, they were like, well, we did not find any trace of her here. We had dogs, we
Right.
had everything. There's no trace of her in this building or on top of the building because they looked. So then, about 3 weeks later, you have different people that are staying in the hotel, and they're complaining that their water pressure is really low. The water smells weird. It's starting to look weird. They start complaining about the water. So they're like,
Sounds
well,
like
there's
Chinese
something weird. There's something weird about the water, right? So maintenance guy goes up to the roof because they have like 4 like giant 1,000-gallon water tanks up there. So he goes up there. There's something wrong with one of the water tanks. He starts opening them up. Well, you need a ladder, firstly, to get into the water tanks. Like you can't just climb up there. You have to have a ladder. Also, the lids are really heavy. So for this little Asian girl to be able to open the lid is very unlikely. And then the way like she was found in one of the water tanks. She was completely naked. None of her clothes were around. There was
Naked?
not, yeah, completely naked. There was not a ladder for her to climb in. The door for the water tank was closed. And once you're in, how are you going to close that water tank door behind you? Because it props open. You got in there. How are you going to close it? So you have all these weird situations where you're like, and they had searched the roof and they had found no sign of her. They had no trace for 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden they find
people
her.
were drinking her.
Yeah, they were drinking the water. They're bathing in it. But like, how long had she been in there? Because she had not decomposed for 3 weeks in that water tank.
Really?
The autopsy report does not show any physical or sexual assault and no noticeable markings on her body. However, 0.02% ethanol, so alcohol, was in her bile. Her liver contained an SNRI, which was used to treat her depression, and another drug that was used to treat bipolar and epilepsy. But she was bipolar, so that makes sense that she would have regular amounts of her medications in her system. There was significant decay, so they couldn't get a lot of evidence about toxicology. So she had been there for a little while, but
This is bizarre.
the whole thing is really weird. How did she get there? Who put her there? So then people thought it was a murder, but the ruling was an accidental drowning. So
Accidental drowning.
right,
I mean, just
because she
seems
had
funny
no
to-
other marks on her, but there's no like evidence. So then it makes you wonder, well, was it like one of the people that would have had access to the roof that put her in there? How'd they get her? I guess she could have just drowned.
It makes you really wonder what's going on, in her mind at that time. Just given like the bizarre elevator footage, and then whatever drives her. I mean, let's say she does climb up the water tanks. Figures out a way up there, undoes the door, strips her clothes off. Maybe they're thrown off the roof, in which case they get
Somebody would have
blown.
found them.
Well, I mean, let's just say if we're being generous, they get blown several city blocks away, and whatever, just traffic and shit happens. Some of it gets blown over here, some of it gets blown over here. We are 14 stories up, and then climbs inside. Is the lid on this thing?
The lid's on it.
Like
when they find it, it's
the
closed.
hatch. It's closed.
Yeah.
It doesn't strike me as something that's designed to be closed from the inside, but
It's not.
whatever, she makes the effort one way or another to close the door behind her, which because I'm looking at pictures of it, it doesn't look like a hinged hatch. It looks like a square steel plate that you would pick up and put to the side. And so, she gets in this, treads water while she fishes her arms back outside the tank to grab this plate to put it back into its fixed position.
That's assuming that the water tank is full at the time of her death.
Yeah, it would need to
And
be
I don't know the answer to that question.
because based off of I can see pictures of guys standing next to it. This thing is probably 8 to 9 feet tall.
It's 8x4.
8x4. Okay, so there you go, 8 to 9 feet tall. And yeah, I mean, if it's not filled to the brim, either way, it's a bizarre thing to have to do and a difficult thing by the looks of it to tread water while naked, reach your arms outside, and then be able to
And it's a
pull this
20-pound
thing
lid.
over. It's a 20-pound lid, so that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's a steel plate. It doesn't look like it's on a hinge to me. It looks like it's literally just a cover you would remove. And in order to fix it back in its place, you'd have to lift it up and put it over a
It's
smaller,
not hinged. So I was just
It's
looking at my
not
notes again.
hinged.
It's not. So the hotel staff says the 20-pound lid was difficult to move and required lifting from the top of the tank. The tank stood on a platform, and accessing the tank lid required climbing a steep, narrow ladder. Once on top of the tank, Elisa would have had to stand on the opposite side of the lid, straight up, and then climb over it to get inside. And also she had to remove her clothes at some point. And then
so she's doing all this.
close the lid.
naked. And dude, this is in
So that didn't happen.
No
this is
way.
in February.
She did not kill herself. There's no way she killed herself.
Oh wait, this is Los Angeles. So Los Angeles doesn't have winter like that, right?
I think it gets
I mean,
colder.
it's February, so it's not great.
I did SEER school in February in San Diego. It
I
got
mean, I
cold at
can
night,
see-
but it was like 70s during the day.
Everybody in the pictures, they're wearing jackets. Jackets and jeans. Nobody's wearing short sleeve anything. Even in the photo in the thing, she's wearing a sweater. I can see images of the rooftop here, and everybody is wearing winter clothes. So it gets cold enough.
Yeah.
So to be completely nude, what looks to me like a 110-pound Asian woman, and maybe that's even being a little bit.
That's probably generous, I would say.
That's probably being
She's
generous. Yeah.
small. I would say like 90, 100 pounds tops. Like she looks little.
I mean, to do this, you would have to be pretty mission driven. You'd be fighting. You would be fighting. I don't even imagine you would get away with this without the scrapes on your arms and shit showing that you were treading water while fishing your arms outside of a steel contraption that is not designed to be gentle on the skin. I mean, we're just talking, sheet metal here.
Well, and there's so they say there's no signs at all on her body. So you don't even have the signs of her like climbing up the ladder, like walking on the platform. Like you would think there'd be some sort of signs on her feet because if she's naked, then like there's got to be some sign of something. But they have nothing.
It would also strike me that these water towers don't get a ton of play as far as like opening them. I mean, they're pipe fed. And so there would be some sediment on the lid that would have to be disturbed probably since the thing was put up there outside of like regular maintenance if somebody went in there. But,
So,
you would see handprints all over this shit.
Right. My father-in-law worked on like boilers and like water towers and things like this. And so he, and this not in LA, he was in Seattle, but he would check them once a month. So he would know in a month time frame if something was wrong with it. And maintenance is supposed to be checking on this. You have the maintenance of the actual building because he's like a third-party contractor. But the maintenance of the building would ideally be checking on it, making sure everything's good. So people would at least once a month be checking on these water tanks.
And she was in there for what
3
seemed to be
weeks. Well,
3 weeks. So,
she was missing for 3 weeks. We don't know if she was in there for 3 weeks.
Right? You're saying the
But-
decomposition doesn't match that time frame.
So she had significant decay. I don't know if it's 3 weeks worth, but we also have to remember that right as soon as she went missing, they found no trace of her. They had dogs at the hotel following her scent, and there was no trace of her.
yeah, that's
Where did she go?
I mean, these
And
dogs.
she had to have been in the water tower for some amount of time because if people are starting to complain that the water pressure is low and that, like it's starting to smell bad, like she had to be in the tank for a decent amount of time. Was it 3 weeks? I mean, decomp can happen pretty quick, especially in water. Probably not.
well, just for reference, you know, police tracking dogs are considered highly reliable with success rates ranging from 75 to 97%.
If she was
So-
on that roof, they would have found her scent because there's not a lot of scents on the roof.
Right. That's what I'm
Like
saying.
they
I
can
mean,
find scents in the woods. They would find it on that roof. If she was there, they would have found her.
I get it. You know, the dogs are probably smelling a lot of things, fentanyl and whatever. But
So
just being in LA.
we're talking about like a possible time lapse.
Somebody in the chat said that the association between water and portals is always something
that's a
worth
good point.
considering.
Yeah, it's a really good
That's
point.
typically when you get some portal story is around a body of water, typically running water. But I don't know if that is, you know, when you're dealing with something that is hard to prove in general. I don't know if that's a constant, is that the water has to be running. But I mean, man, it's just hard to imagine how she gets in there. I mean, like we said, 8 feet tall. 8 feet tall. You're treading water in a 4 by 8.5 foot body of water. It's ice cold
Yeah,
because it's covered up. It's February. You're nude, which, you know, probably maybe could have its advantages. I'm sure there's a lot of drag on clothing and water, and you're treading water while you're.
Well, no, I don't think she wouldn't be treading water. There's no marks on her skin. So if this is like a metal object and you're trying to get out, she would have been banged up. So she's putting this thing already dead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm
that makes more
acting under the-
sense. Like
Yeah.
somebody else put her there, but there's no marks to that. There's no evidence, no physical or sexual evidence that she was murdered.
Wouldn't you struggle? Like,
Right?
if
Wouldn't you
were
struggle?
trying to swim?
Well,
I
if
mean,
you put yourself in there because you know, I'm operating under the only thing that makes sense is this.
yeah, but if you put yourself in there, like the moment you begin to sink, the moment you begin to drown, I feel like even if you are, there is some struggle that like initially kicks in
Yeah,
because
you probably go, oh shit.
yeah.
Whoops.
How many people actually? I'd be curious about this. How many people die by drowning, like commit by drowning?
That's a great question.
know?
I would say that's.
I'm gonna get put on a list for
Yeah.
looking this up.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
look things like this up all the time.
So I mean, yeah, hanging would be probably pretty high up there. Self-inflicted gunshot is another one. Drowning. That sounds
Right.
like drowning is up there with self-immolation, which I know has become
20
popular in recent years, but not the preferred modality, I would imagine.
When you look it up, they're like, help is available.
Yeah.
So,
We're getting put on a bunch of lists, and one of them is
8.9% of all suicides, but it is the fourth leading cause of.
surprisingly
or
high.
Yeah. Honestly, I would
Well-
not have thought that.
I think they're probably conflating some of the numbers where like you're jumping off a bridge.
Right. Drowning in South Florida, Croatia.
That's like by holding your breath. Like it's crazy.
Honestly, it's
Right,
one of
like, how do
the
you,
that
like-
and like I said, being set on fire are two of the real big scary ones.
Actually,
that
so I
people
had
do
this
that.
conversation recently with
Yeah.
a medical professional, and they were telling me that, like drowning is not that bad. Like like it's bad like initially, like because you take like a couple big like
It's uncomfortable.
that your body kind of like shuts itself down so you don't feel the rest of it. Whereas like death by fire would suck because until your nerves are burnt, but like initially you're feeling all that. But
Yeah.
drowning, it's only a little bit where you're like trying to breathe and then your body's like, oh, we can't breathe, so we're just going to just stop feeling all of that.
That's interesting. Good
Yeah,
to know,
so
I guess, because
drowning
if I've
isn't
ever
that
set
bad.
on fire. Man, that's interesting. I mean, still, like I said, my whole thing is like, to be such a tiny chick, you know, maybe what you're doing is you're holding on to the but then you have one arm to try to get this 20-pound plate, which like
But what are
a
you holding on
20-pound
to?
dumbbell is one thing. The edge of the square orifice that you dropped in through.
You don't think that the
Right.
thing like you think it just sits on top, it doesn't like sit in?
No, I think from what it looks like to me is there is a raised edge that is in the same shape as the lid, and the lid is a slightly larger diameter than that raised edge. So you do
Okay.
need to lower it onto.
So you're holding on
the
with
same
just
way
your
you would-
fingernails.
Or like you could hold on to it, but I mean, I don't know if if you have a 20-pound dumbbell, for a small Asian woman, that's probably pretty heavy. Once you spread that thing out
It's hard to
into a
move.
plate, and you're trying to grab the edges of it with your hand, and you've got to try to get your palm underneath it to lift it effectively and,
then you
return it back
You
to
also have no scratches anywhere on your
it
hand.
doesn't,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it just
So
doesn't make
that's-
sense.
That doesn't happen.
I
So-
mean, look, you have to leave some and say like,
no,
yeah,
but
she
it
could
didn't.
have.
It didn't happen that way. There's no way it happened
Right.
that way. I mean,
There's
what we're
no
talking
marks
about,
on this body at all.
Yeah,
yeah,
and Asian people are notorious for soft skin.
we're talking about somebody that died somewhere else, and then was placed there.
Or she
For
put
whatever
herself
reason.
there and just committed. So she wasn't going to fight because she wanted to die. That's
Well,
an
that's what I'm
option.
saying. Yeah,
I don't see how you don't fight. Like that. That is a crazy thing. Like
I mean, I've never
Even-
been that to be like I'm ready to end everything. So maybe
Yeah, it
that's where like the disconnect is. Like maybe.
I'm going back and I'm looking at this video of her in the elevator, and when she's like peeking out, there looks to be like an artifact of a video that like kind of casts a shadow or something on the door adjacent to the elevator door. And I don't know if it's just an artifact or like with my mind, I'm like, is it a spooky? I think it's coming up. You'll kind of like see some shadows moving on it. But like, it's shitty, grainy elevator footage, and there's no
Yeah.
way to really know what you're looking at. But that directly across the door with a horizontal gray bar on it does appear to be a door, because later on in the video you will see that when it goes to another floor,
what is that?
she's
You know what it reminds
doing
me
a
of?
little hippie hop.
Right, like, but when I'm like hiding around a corner and I'm gonna scare my toddler, and like I'll jump
Yeah.
out, like that's what
Yeah.
that looks like. Like it doesn't like, and if you're scared, that's not what you're doing.
It does seem like playful.
Yeah, it seems more playful than it does like fear. It's
Bizarre,
weird.
man.
So
But,
there's
I mean,
this
we're also
theory.
talking.
Sorry, go
You're
ahead.
talking about like bipolar disorder as well. So this is somebody that could just, I don't know, presumably go from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
If we're being fair.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, I'm watching her now. She's coming back. She's got her hands above her head. It's a fine line between distress and almost playfulness.
Right. And like it depends on your lens, right? Like how you're gonna, because at first she gets in and like she kind of stands in the corner, like almost like she's a little scared, and then she hides in the other corner, and then the way she like looks out, you're like, okay, that's fear. But then she jumps out, and then she stands just like outside the elevator. You're like, why are you
Doing
standing
the
there?
fucking hokey pokey. And then she's
Right.
like, looks like she's petting the air.
I think Robert brings up a very good point here. I don't really understand Chinese people either.
That's true. She is Korean, and I
We're
don't know much about. A bit of an enigma, really, Korean people. So we could chalk this whole thing up to just being Korean, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
And I guess like socially, they do play games that are not things that we would normally play, and they play differently. Because I was friends with a Korean for a little while, and she would do things, and I was like, that was weird, but that's totally like just what they do.
well, now you're not friends with her anymore, and that's
Well,
probably a good decision.
Distance.
Well,
People
that's what you have
people
to do.
move and like
Yeah, well, I
relationships
tend to move
fade.
away from people that play strange games. But
That's not what
I mean, once again, it's just like this whole thing. If it was just the water tower alone in a vacuum, we found a body in a water tower, you would still have a ton of questions. How did this little chick get in here? She's
Right.
naked, yada yada. The whole thing we just laid out. But this leading up to it, this bizarre elevator scene. And then layer on top of it the crazy history of the Cecil Hotel in general. It's like this is just there's too much, because I see like some people will just say, oh, it's just
Well, so there's a theory that it's a copycat murder.
Oh, interesting.
So there was this movie in 2005. It's called Dark Water. It was like a horror mystery.
yeah.
Have you seen the movie?
I think I did a long time ago. Refresh my mind. What was that about?
So basically, like it's almost a parallel of Elisa Lam's case, because there was a body discovered in the rooftop water tank. And the film's plot and real life tragedy involve a woman in an apartment building experiencing like strange water problems and this like dark water effect or this element in the plumbing. The movie really centers around like supernatural occurrences, like being haunted by a ghost.
This movie comes out before she dies?
Yeah, this comes out in 2005 and she dies in 2013. And the weird part is that the target of the ghost, so the ghost was haunting this 6-year-old girl who's named Cecilia, and she's the main character.
That's interesting. Cecilia, Cecil
Right.
Hotel.
Well, and pull that back up.
Look at her.
So right here in the corner, you see the water
there's
tower.
a water tower.
I mean, the body was in the water tower, but like it's so weird. And like, it's a haunting, and like the daughter who is the target of the haunting is Cecilia, and she's the main character. Like
Even Hitchcock could not have done it. Oh, so that
Weird.
reminds me of the White Noise film. But White Noise was really wild because it was like it came out and then a week later the plot happened in real life, which is, we've talked about it on the show, but the Ohio train derailment. Now in the film it takes place in the 80s, and a lot of interestingly enough, much of the cast as far as like extras and background came from East Palestine, Ohio, which is where it happened in real life. But you have a train derailment and a toxic, chemical spill, and then there are additional layers to the film that are very bizarre. But we've talked about them ad nauseum on this show. But then it takes place in real life only a week after or so it's released on Netflix. And because of the complexity of that situation, you would never accuse it of being a copycat, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't say somebody derailed the train because of the Netflix film. You just are forced to look at that and go, I don't know what that is. I guess we'll just keep moving. But this film comes out, when, 2005?
2005.
2005. And then 8 years later, this thing happens. I mean, man, yeah, you could call it a copycat, but that still doesn't account for the bizarre elevator behavior and just the lack. I mean, does a copycat also have the expertise to leave no evidence behind whatsoever, signs of struggle, etc.?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But also you would think that like
This does
if you're
make
gonna
it a lot weirder,
copycat-
though.
right, if you're going to copycat a movie, then you would do it kind of closer to when that movie came out. Right?
I mean, imagine just being such a big fan of like anything Jennifer Connelly did.
Yeah, I'm such a big fan of this 5-star movie.
Like that you would go and,
it's not a big movie, right? Like but how many times in our life, like you're saying with White Noise, like that a movie happens and it's so similar to what's happening in real life, and they're like, no, you're basing that off of like how many conspiracies where we're like, no, this is like a conspiracy. They're like, oh, that's just a movie. Like they're literally telling us what's happening in real life with movies. I mean, you have that with The Simpsons too, predicting things. Like, no, The Simpsons are telling us what's happening.
Yeah, and the way I've begun looking at these things, because it's kind of like your mind wants to jump to some grand conspiracy about like somebody who's orchestrating these events is also letting us know ahead of time. But I think I'm more comfortable with the idea of like, actually, if you listen to these people, they'll tell you where they came from. These ideas come through some sort of spiritual inspiration. And we talk about it all the time on this show, whether it's like the muses with Greek culture, where their great works of art come from. They come from the muses. Or if you're talking about one of our favorite examples is Santana, the guitarist Santana, who says that his inspiration comes from Metatron. Metatron, who is like, I believe, a fallen angel. So the idea that this would be a supernatural event and that someone would have received this as some sort of inspired download or something 8 years beforehand and said, yeah, this is going to be a great movie.
Yeah.
That seems kind of more likely than maybe the Jews doing the orchestrating.
I don't think the Jews had anything to do with this. This was an Asian. It makes you think that so these pre-programmed events or revelation of the method sort of thing.
Yeah.
I always look at it like, oh, they have to tell you, but maybe it's more of like I don't know, like, you know how the Mazzaroth, the story is written in the stars already. So there's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
before, beginning, present, and there's an end to this. And these entities have already, like, they simultaneously exist and they torment you, but they've already been judged and cast in the lake of fire. And it's like, it's done for them, but it's being played out. I just wonder if, I don't know, let's say the director of this movie or the writer of this movie, you know, you receive a download, because this is not uncommon. You receive a download of
Right.
this story, and you're like kind of how we're talking about it now. Like, this is fantastic. What the hell happened here? And you just get this, that this thing happened, has happened, will happen. I don't know, but I'm gonna write about it now. So it's like you're shown this,
Yeah, and
and then they mimic it, and then later on we go, oh, they copied that, but it's like, well, what happened? What actually happened first? And like, how are we even perceiving time? This is the idea of the calendar as well. Like, we're so mixed up in it. We're like, where exactly are we in the timeline,
Yeah.
and how is this all playing out?
Well, to that point, like I've been deep diving into remote viewing a little bit lately, and so
Ooh.
like it makes me wonder. And this is far fetched, but like because when you're remote viewing or you're doing an out of body experience, time and space doesn't really matter. Like you can go anywhere, you can be anywhere at any time. And so like, are they seeing things and they're like, oh, let's go back and let's make a movie, because they're saying that the CIA runs Hollywood, right? So if the CIA runs Hollywood, they're like, oh, let's make a movie about this event that's gonna happen, and then like maybe we can cover it up better, or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's like a big plan, but this will make a really good movie, or this will make a really good episode. This will make a really good whatever. And then they turn it into,
I mean,
or
I think there
a
could,
civilian remote viewer, and they're like, this is going to be a great movie, and then they write it.
yeah, I think there could definitely be something to that. I mean, somebody said the other day, like, how many times is somebody's like disembodied voice or whatever actually some Fed just fucking like blasting some shit into their head from a van outside? Like, I think that's on the
Yeah.
table too. But when you think about the processes that ancient people have used to channel, right? You definitely have drawing, right? So people
Yeah.
will take this thing and they'll close their eyes and they'll start moving this pen around, and then when they're done, they'll look at what they, or the same thing with music, right? You're manipulating frequency. You're just kind of jamming and looking for something. You're just looking for something. You're opening yourself up and you're looking for something that sounds right. And then all of a sudden it starts manifesting on your guitar or whatever it is. And you plug in, you sync up to that frequency, which is where these things operate. I think writing is very much the same way, where like people, you experience this, or maybe not you, but we're all familiar with the stories of like, there's a difference between an individual experiencing writer's block, but then what is the exact opposite of writer's block? It is this flow state where it's just coming and you're just going. And when you're done and you're left with, you're taken aback by this piece that you just wrote or this story that you just wrote. And I think that certainly then that leaves, not just music on the table, not just pieces of art, physical art, drawing on the table, but movies too, because people are writing all of this. It was a book before it was a movie. It was like, you think this bitch, what's her name? J.K. Rowling, they're like, oh, she just came up with it. She was kind of like down in her luck and on her last dollar, and she would write it on the train. Like, she was channeling, dude. She was scrying.
I think she admits to that now.
Yeah. And what do we watched? I watched Weapons. And we were talking to Donut about the film Weapons, which is highly occultic, and there's so much that they're revealing through it. And then when you do a little Google search, when they were interviewing the director, he said it came to him. It all came to him in a download. We talked to Tom Althouse, the original creator of The Matrix. And once we really got down
So
to
he
it,
says.
so
Wait
he
a minute.
says, I don't
wanna
know,
get
dude
sued.
is holding like these manuscripts and everything, and everything is stamped and approved, and there's seals on it, and this and that. I mean, it's a hell of a story to make up if it is a made up story. But either way, midway through the episode, he's like, it came to me like a download.
Well, how many people say that about their dreams? People say that about their dreams all the time, where they're
Yeah.
like, I had this dream, and then like this all came to me in a dream. Like I
Yeah.
woke up and I like had to write, or I woke up and I had to create this thing because I had this dream.
Yeah, I've had stuff like that before.
I'm sorry.
I was like, what was that?
One day I woke up, and I don't know what this
was John Mayer.
It's because we talk about dreams all the time on this show, and now we have a drop for it every single time. But I woke up one day, and I swear I'm like the worst, because if the spiritual realm is trying to nudge me to like do a thing, I'm like, too lazy, because I woke up and for maybe some of the chat might remember this. I just had this memory of Ugaritic text. The Ugaritic text was like in my head, like echoing in my head when I woke up, and I was like, what is that? And then I simply never made any effort to do anything about it. Like, it was like everything in me was compelling me to like look up, research Ugaritic text, look into something about, and I was like, nah, I simply can't do that. And I left it alone. But how many people listen to a thing like that? They pursue it and there's something there. And then it opens up this doorway to some, massive body of work or whatever. Robert Wolf
could
says,
have
I pray for
happened?
you a lot, David. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. Thank you.
What could have happened if you looked into it?
Who the
Where
hell
would
knows?
you
I mean,
be
there's,
now?
sometimes I look it up and then I forget what the hell it said. I know that I don't know if it's got something to do with like the Dead Sea Scrolls or something like that, but it's like, oh, there's something here. I know among the Dead Sea Scrolls is where like the Book of Enoch I think was found or something. Like maybe that, I don't know. Spiritual realm is highly disappointed with me, but I think
Like this
that
guy out here with his podcast.
and he's got this thing where he's saying all this shit and instead he's saying dumb things. So yeah, man, I think that all of that is on the table. So when I look at that film, Dark Water, I think somebody was just an unwitting participant in something that was more spiritual than they probably. In fact, I think a lot of the times when assholes are on stages accepting awards for this great work or that great work, like that wasn't even your work. You're the conduit. You were the facilitator of a thing that was nudged spiritually.
I wonder how much this woman, the Asian lady, played in like actual knowing what was happening. If something like that did happen to her, but what happens afterward? So there's this investigation. Nobody knows, and
They
the
basically
hotel is shut down.
Yeah, the hotel is shut down. Let me find.
Yeah, because
That
this
in
happened
my
in
notes.
2013. It looks like the hotel shut down like 2021.
Yeah, so it was featured on Ghost Adventures in 2021 because it'd been like it. Their claim was that it had been haunted for decades. It opened for that crew, but like it had been closed. I'm trying to find in my notes when it was closed.
Was it closed as a result of this? Like, was this the final straw? Or was it just like this?
No,
It's
I
like
think
this is
that
a health violation.
well, so it had been open and closed prior because like they used it. It closed down as a hotel, but then they used it for Section 8 housing. That's what I'm trying to think. So used it for like
Oh.
Section 8 housing for a while too. So let's see. I have it in here
They're
somewhere.
just
I just have
adding
to
to
find
the
it.
layers of. I used to
Yeah.
live in a Section 8 building.
Of misery, downtrodden behavior.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
actually, I've lived in twice in Section 8 buildings, and one of them, my wife,
Yep.
we would see just this little shadow all the time, peeking around corners. Every time we would turn, it felt like
how
we're
could it not be like I
That's
grew
exactly my thought.
up by the projects? How could they not be haunted? When you look
Yeah.
at the behavior of the people that live there,
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying cheap rent. Your heat is free. Your electric is free for the most part. But you're living with animals, and you guys you come out of your apartments, you hit each other, you shoot each other. There's people
Yeah.
dying in there left and right. It's just
Everybody's on drugs.
everyone's miserable.
Overdose.
depressed,
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
You could hear the screaming, between couples or families behind closed doors, echoing
It's a
through the
haunted.
hallways.
It's a haunted place, but we don't look at it like that. We call it like ghetto, and we'll kind of
Ghetto.
make fun of it
Yeah.
in a way because
But
it's
also like all the anger, that's like that what it's like the energy field of it is like so
It's heavy.
low. Yeah.
It's heavy, and that's what these things feed off of. They feed off of that kind of energy, and so
it's weird when it's around I guess whatever will be racist, but it's around like black people. Like for some reason,
shadow people.
I don't consider it haunted, right? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this is just ghetto.
Well, no, you know
Right.
why? Because it's
But they
not
created
haunted.
the ghettos. They put all the black people in one area and they created it to be a ghetto, to be what it is. And it's just like
And they gave them crack and they
Well,
killed each other.
I mean, the story of the
out
projects
Tupac.
where I'm from is like they were created in the 70s, and it was actually a pretty nice, diverse community of like all people. My parents are Puerto Rican, but there was like Irish people. Obviously like lower class on the monetary scale. And then when like black people were started to be pushed into these places, and again, it's like I don't know. It's like it's fun to just be racist and be like, yeah, black people, but it's like no. There's a condition here. Something happened here.
Well,
Yeah.
There's a level of misery that's like stacked on itself, and
what
it's like,
happens when you put all the poor people in one spot? What you're guaranteeing is you're putting all of the energy of despair and frustration and anger and all of that shit in one place.
But it wasn't like that. Like if you talk to my parents who grew up there,
Yeah.
when it was like and I think I know what it is. If we're going to be serious, it's not necessarily race, because when they grew up there, there's a lot of people. There's like a whole mixed generation of people from every race that you can. Besides Chinese, they weren't really here yet, and things were cool. Like everyone, they had their struggles. If they could pay, they helped each other out. And for the most part, it was cool. When the black people came in, they came in with like this crack epidemic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're adding like this race layer that everyone. It's very easy to look at the race layer.
There's a principality associated with that sort of drug use.
100% for sure, because it doesn't make sense why such a beautiful place. Like the projects there are nice. Like some of them in Coney Island, you can go and it has like panorama windows of you can see
wow.
the entire like Atlantic Ocean, and then to the left you can see like the boardwalk and the Ferris wheel and all. It's beautiful. Like on the top floor, I'm like, this is $1 million condo you should be paying for, but it's Section 8 housing.
Yeah.
And it's like that probably because once the drugs are inserted, there's just a downward spiral in whatever happened there, and it's like again.
Well,
it's
you
easy to just,
exacerbate it, right? They facilitate the crack epidemic by flooding the hood with cocaine. And then what they do is they launch the war on drugs, which either if you don't die from the crack trade, meaning all the violence associated with and the gangs and everything that are associated with selling it, you end up in prison because of the war on drugs. Then you destabilize every household that's in that area. So there's a principality associated with this drug. And there's a heaviness from, all the violence that's associated with selling it and trading it and all this shit. And then whatever is left, the men get thrown in prison. So the household is destabilized. The children are vulnerable. If the men are the spiritual head of the household, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. So
But-
the family is vulnerable to all of the spiritual, comings and goings.
The question is like, how come they didn't flood the area, like this specific area that we're talking about, with drugs prior to the black people coming to that area? Like it's the projects anyway. It's low income anyway.
Oh, yeah,
How
because
come
they made
didn't
an
flood it
effort to
with-
destroy the black community.
Right. Like
yeah, it was a formula. So if you did
Yeah.
want to destroy a community, this is exactly how you do it.
Leprechaun in the Hood. That's a great ass, dude.
it's
you know what's
funny.
kind of funny though? Yeah.
Because
It's-
this is what you think of, like
Right.
when you think of like hauntings in the hood, it's very weird. You
That
think of
is
like hauntings
interesting.
hauntings are like white people shit. Like what
Right,
the
that's
story
true.
we read, right?
you don't
But
hear of black people being haunted.
because
They're
they don't
haunted,
want
dog.
black people to realize that there's a spiritual implication to what they're dealing with.
Yeah, there's black ghosts or whatever it is. Yeah, they're haunted. Like when I go, I have to go to New York in 2 weeks. Stop it. Stop it with your jacket. I got to go to New York in 2 weeks, and I'm like not looking forward to it because there is a spiritual heaviness
Yeah,
of this. Like
no,
when you go
thanks.
there, damn, that place needs an exorcism.
It's so crazy because you
All of
do
New
that,
York?
right? You
Never been to New York.
most of it.
I think it needs a
The places I go,
bomb.
yeah.
The
But it
whole
is interesting to do that.
state.
So you create heavy spiritual warfare against the black community, and then you make it culturally humorous to associate like ghosts and black people. Like black people specifically don't deal with ghosts, which I don't think there's ever really ghosts. I think there are things masquerading as
Right.
dead children and shit, whatever you're gonna most likely engage with, which is why they always present that way, either as a murdered woman or a lost child spirit, because
Yeah.
they're luring you in to engage with them, and then as soon as you do that, it has some sort of foothold on
Another
your life.
vulnerable.
But yeah, that's a
The sequel.
I always thought the leprechaun
wild
was
out here.
horrifying too. He's a really horrifying.
Never even seen
Yeah.
that.
You never saw that Leprechaun in the Hood? Because there was
No.
Leprechaun, which was like a scary movie, and then there was like Leprechaun in the Hood.
And that was a comedy.
And
You
that
said-
was a comedy.
That's why I'm pulling it up because
Oh,
Leprechaun.
okay.
Yeah,
So I never
Leprechaun was
watched the
horrific.
Leprechaun. the scary movie because I don't do scary movies. I pee myself when
Smart.
I watch scary movies. And
This
so
is
then,
old. This is like 2000s probably.
It's like when Scream and all like the scary movie was all coming out. I watched all the scary movies.
Yeah. Yeah, the spoof ones.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat brought up the idea of voodoo too, which is like, yeah, a certain people group, has principalities that they're more vulnerable to, right? So that's why you get like voodoo or hoodoo that comes from like Haiti and things of that nature. Africa has its own ancestral spiritual worship that they are accustomed to.
Probably Korea too.
Probably, I'm sure Korea.
Yeah.
I was
has that,
making
yeah.
the joke before about like I don't understand Chinese people or Korean people, but it's like their customs are going to be
Their customs
foreign
are
to what.
so different from us. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're engaging in a lot of that ancestral worship and things of that nature. So, yeah, man. I mean, I think maybe it just so happens that because Irish and obviously they have there's deep Catholicism within Irish and Italians, right?
Yeah.
And so they have their own thing when you look into like the Druids and Celtic mythology and stuff when it comes to Scottish and Irish lore. But I think they're long detached from that. And maybe I don't know, maybe that kind of thing is experiencing a resurgence. But when it comes to like, especially migrants from Africa or from Haiti in particular, or any of these places, like, yeah, they were just experiencing that ancestral worship, these nature deities and things like that. And then all of a sudden they're here and, they're trying to assimilate and shit is really hard, especially when the government is weaponizing your music against you, flooding the hoods with crack, redlining so that you can't buy property anywhere. You can't get approved for a mortgage outside of the hood. There's a lot of things that are, it's almost like an experiment on like how spiritually twisted can you make an area and a people group. And so how do we get on black people?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. We went down a freaking rabbit hole there. Let me
Went
answer
down
your
the
question
rabbit
because
hole.
I found the answer to your question is when it was shut down. So in 2014, Richard Bourne from New York bought the hotel. Simon Barron Development. They promised they were gonna preserve the architecture or whatever. In 2017, they actually closed it for renovations. Of course, COVID hit, so they stopped the renovations. In December of 2021, they reopened as an affordable housing complex operated by the Skid Row Housing Trust.
that's how we got on it.
Yep, that's how we got there. And then now Reverend Dylan Littlefield performs acts of service at the Cecil Hotel for the homeless population.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so the hotel has been for sale since 2024. In 2025, there's still residents living in the hotel, but the Skid Row Housing Trust phone number is no longer in service. The website's been shut down. They're not the people operating the facility anymore. There's just people still living there.
That's a wild thing to do ultimately, is take this place that is one of the
Talk about the
heaviest,
spiritual
then go,
aspect of
hey,
it.
let's give this to poor people.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you do.
They're like,
You
oh,
give 'em the
this has
slop,
been,
you
there's
give 'em-
so much death and destruction and despair here. Let's go ahead and move a bunch of poor people into it. It's affordable housing now.
This is what we're doing a food drive.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, after Matt gets back, so probably like the 5th or 6th or something.
and
like
we raised a good amount of money for it.
that. Yeah, I don't want to raise any more money for it because it's like a
but-
lot of money.
But I don't want to give if we're giving to people that are poor, I don't want to give them shit. It's the same idea. Oh, here's red 40. Here's yellow 5. Go ahead and dig that hole deeper, stupid.
Yeah.
I don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
That really, because I was like, we can go to Publix and just buy nothing but beer, and just turn it into a beer drive.
You can buy a lot of
You said
cheap
that was
stuff
a bad idea.
that are all this. That's why I was talking about the church and using their refrigerator system, because if you buy these perishables, most of them are it's toxic garbage, and then you really think about what got this person here in the first place. It's
Right.
a lot of that,
slop of all varieties.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
poisoning them, and
Spiritual
they're
slop
gonna be sick, and they're gonna when you're sick and you eat a bunch of junk, and then you don't really want to move, and you want to just sit
Yeah.
around, and then you're lazy, and now you're eating those Doritos and drinking the soda while you're playing video games because that's all you have the energy to do, and then you go to sleep. But now those video games have fucked with your head, And people have
Yeah.
anxiety because they're just scrolling on social media all day long, and they just eat junk food. And your microbiome, your gut microbiome, is like the second brain that causes the depression, that causes the anxiety, that causes inflammation, that causes all this immunity, like immune system issues. And you're just like feeding that with like shit food. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
people are sick. Of course people are not doing anything. Of course people are anxious. Like, we're feeding them like garbage.
This hotel, you said it's on Skid Row.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like all of the components
You
of
think
it.
about like
I wonder if I think what you're missing here with the I guess your deep dive into this is like you probably got to deep dive into Skid Row, how that
Yeah.
turned out the way it did, because if this place was there before that neighborhood went to trash, and the neighborhood goes to trash because of policy, but there are other factors as well. So you kind of have to factor in all of these things and see like what happened here. Was this a hotel the catalyst, or is this hotel just kind of a symptom of like, it's just a sick
The
area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is interesting that there are sick areas, though. Because, like, not all of LA went to shit, but Skid Row is notoriously bad. So it makes you wonder, like, I mean, if the theory that the Cecil Hotel is this portal, then is that why Skid Row became what it is?
well, this is
Is
it's
that,
interesting.
like, what caused it?
It's interesting that it's a tower. Can you bring this up top? Because this is what it reminds me of. Like, you have this land that is, poisoned, and then you have this tower in the middle. It's like the Eye of Sauron. Like, it's like this, almost like the enemy planting its flag in its stronghold. It's like what happens below there on the baseline is Skid Row. It's this, incredible level of despair. It's the same thing with like Kensington, where you look at it and you're just like, this is a real spiritual stronghold. And then hovering above it is tower. Like, geez, man.
But then it also makes sense, like, looking at it, when Skid Row really came to prominence, you're seeing a lot of deaths through, like, the 60s and the 70s, and then into the 80s when we have, like, the serial killers that come in. Well, that's going to happen because the area is bad.
Sure, you got a lot of vulnerable people.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You could go back and forth all day. Like, maybe it was just a murder. Maybe it was just maybe it's something so much darker than that. Like,
it just feels like sort of a unique case in a body of really horrific shit. Not just in that
Yeah.
tower, but like that area. And then you zoom out, and what are you really looking at? You're looking at LA.
yeah.
Which is what is Los? It means the angels,
Yeah.
city of the angels. You know what I mean? What fallen angels?
Yeah.
Like, it's a stronghold, dude. Like, the more you zoom out on that situation, the more you realize like this is
And
just
All
a
the crazy
festering
things that happen
hole
there.
in a giant wound.
Yeah. No, like LA, like it's all bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't even like feel good to be there. It feels like weird.
I've heard people say that, where you get off the plane at LA and you could just feel like the spiritual. I've never been. I have no interest in going.
Like, have you ever been to a place where you get off the plane, you're like, yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Like, this is cool. I got off the plane
Yeah,
and I was
Florida.
like, ugh, Florida.
Yeah.
No.
When I went to New Orleans, you could feel like there was really something there. A lot of it, the
voodoo stuff.
Yeah, and it gives itself away. Meaning you could just look at it and go like, oh, it's pretty obvious. And of course, within the lore of New Orleans, it's nothing but voodoo and Santa Muerta and all this shit that they do out there. But the look of it too, the architecture, it's like this. It's beautiful, but it's dilapidated. It's falling apart. There's like, this what would you call it? Novelty bar that is sinking into the earth. And it's like, when you look at it, you're like, it's part of a tourist attraction. Nothing's been updated. It's this window into a time where, we had all these people here from different countries, and we were importing people from Haiti like crazy, and voodoo was rampant. And this is like the epicenter for like vampire lore in America is
Yeah.
New Orleans. and they've not changed anything about this place. And when you look at it, you're like, the only thing that's holding this building together is something spiritual, because for all intents and purposes, it should be vacant. It should be what do you call it when the city shuts a place down? You know, like it's condemned.
Condemned.
It should be condemned. But instead, there are people going in there, they're serving drinks, you're having food, but you're looking at it and you go, this doesn't make any sense, man. And the whole place doesn't make any sense. It feels like it's propped up by a spirit. And then you look at what happened where the levees broke.
Katrina.
Was it Katrina?
Yep.
You know, all the death and the looting, and it's just like additional layers of dark spiritual energy. And then what is it doing in the meantime? Just debauchery. I mean, as soon as the sun, you don't have to wait for the sun to go down, dude. In
Isn't
the
that
middle of the
interesting,
day.
though? Like we can look. We just talked about this case for like an hour and a half, and really, I think what we're looking at is this larger picture of everything around it. Like this lady is just she's
A
just
symptom.
a circumstance.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a symptom of one of many things that has and will happen in this spot. And I always wonder it as well. Like it's the reason why I left New York, because I got to a certain point and I looked around me and I was like, what's left to save? Like, what could you actually pull out of this dump? Like, if
Yeah.
you buy that hotel,
Then what?
you could fix it up, but can you fix this place?
I don't think you could fix it. Daniel and Babylon. Like Daniel didn't fix Babylon, but he's there in
Like the
Babylon.
light.
There's still like God still has people who are, you know, on that side in that place. But yeah, it's not like Babylon was saved. It's not like Sodom and Gomorrah gets saved. You know what I mean? Like I don't think LA gets saved. I don't think New York City gets saved. I think if there's really a dude in the Cecil Hotel who's a reverend and he's bringing God to these people, like that guy is doing really serious work. If that's the nature of what he's doing, like
You're right.
that's unbelievable work. And God calls certain people to do that. I don't think God calls that reverend to save Skid Row, the Cecil Hotel, Los Angeles. I think there are just people in the belly of the beast that are saving souls, and that's about the best that you're gonna get until something, you know, until New Jerusalem or some shit like that. Like I don't think that.
like,
I think
is
those
there
places are
one?
gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's harder to look past because of all the crazy things, but I mean, you could say that about so many different places. Like how many places are haunted, quote unquote, because people have died there. But really it's just a symptom of the area.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think it's just like the concentration of it. That's what I think it is. I think it's like if you were looking for the head of the zit, it might be right there. It might be like the Cecil Hotel, you know, and the irritation around
there's
it.
many. Like
Yeah.
like I said, in where they built those
Earth's got
affordable
Bacne.
Yeah, where they built the affordable housing projects in Coney Island, it's a peninsula, but the surrounding area is called Gravesend, and they call that for a reason. Like that's where the graves end from the Indians that they killed. So it's like that house, my old house, and all these places built on Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you kind of wonder why this place is forsaken. It's like fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
not a
well-
surprise, people.
Well, that was depressing.
Do you think she was murdered?
No,
I
You think she killed herself?
no.
I'm leaning more towards the idea that like she got in there through some sort of supernatural means. Like she wasn't conventionally, you know, climbing into it. She wasn't put in there by somebody else. I just feel like there would be so much evidence. I mean, if they're bringing out the dogs, then after this case came to a head and they found her, they would have done some sort of forensics. They would have looked into it. So if there was anything that was worth, anything that indicated somebody else was involved, anything that indicated that she, you know, did this on her own, you know, it just, I feel like it would have come up. But instead you're left with these strange things. Like there's no marks. There's no signs of anybody else being involved. Like it sounds like we don't understand the way she got in there.
Okay, how many times? I don't know if you listen to a lot of true crime, but how many murders? How many times have like somebody has clearly murdered this person and they're like, accidental drowning, accidental death, natural
Yeah.
causes. They died by natural causes. When you're like, no, there's strangulation marks on their neck. Like that wasn't
Yeah.
natural causes. Like I don't believe that at all.
I think that they typically will find, you watch like these for the few that I have, and the way that they figure out like the involvement of, this other perpetrator is like through the most obscure shit.
Yeah.
We found DNA strands, we found hair, we found the same mud on this shoe prints that we found on the tires that belonged to the RAV4 that this fucking dude drove. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like all these things, and here they're like nothing. Nothing.
So was it supernatural?
Yeah, that's what, like you said, was she murdered? I said no.
Right.
Did she kill herself? I said no. I just think she died.
I think somebody just
And
blapped her into the.
she's in there. Those are like two separate things. I don't know how they happened. She died. I don't think anybody killed her. And then she was in there, but like not put in there. Just now she's in
That's
there.
where
By the way,
where
the
she
whole
showed up.
manic bipolar, right? Is that what
Yeah,
was?
well, so she could have been experiencing a manic episode, but what you have to understand, or what you have to remember, is that she had her medication in her system. So typically when you're bipolar, like you find a good cocktail, you're good. And so like you can really regulate your moods. You're not doing like massive like dips and spikes. You're pretty even keeled. And she was on her depression medication as well. So if she was having a manic episode, that means that none of her medication was working, but she's still taking it. Because typically what I've experienced with bipolar is that they will stop taking their medicine because they're feeling good, like I'm good,
Yeah.
I don't need it anymore, so they stop taking it, and that's when the shit hits the fan. But if she's still taking it, it was in her system, then is she experiencing a manic episode?
Well,
That's where I don't believe that she's in a manic episode at all.
the thing about that is, I mean, there was a video going viral recently where a guy was wearing, I think those like Ray-Bans kind of, that
Meta
record,
glasses. Yeah.
and he's going to one doctor. He's describing his symptoms, and they're giving him a diagnosis and they're giving him a prescription. And he'll go to another doctor, psychologist, whatever, describe the exact same set of symptoms, different diagnosis, different prescription, and he does it at like 5 or 6 of them. And one of them like a little Indian lady, one of them's like this white dude, whatever. They're all giving him, and it's like he gets hit with like depression, bipolar, bipolar schizophrenic, whatever, like every possible damning psychological diagnosis you can get. This guy gets it, but he's telling them all the same shit, which goes to show you, like, it's like, yeah, see, Marnie Mac said that she's seen it. It was going viral, and it's like, wait a second, what? So
Yeah.
you could bring the same symptoms to a different doctor. They'll give you a different prescription, some shit you can't even pronounce, and a different diagnosis. So what I'm getting at is, under a different diagnosis, she could have been diagnosed bipolar schizophrenic.
Right.
And if
that's
she
true.
was bipolar schizophrenic, I would definitely be more grounded in my assumption that this is demonic in nature. I'm already there, but if she had just a different, instead of just manic bipolar or whatever the hell it was, if it was bipolar schizophrenic, I would have said, oh yeah, this is 100% demonic.
I think we need a little bit more background on her, because like is she prone to having these schizophrenic almost episodes, right? Because that, like, to me, watching that video, it almost seems schizophrenic, like,
Yeah.
just a little bit. So like, is she prone to this type of behavior, or is this something that she's never experienced before? And that's why, like, her roommates, or her sister, like, not her roommates, but whoever was in, like, staying in the same room as her, and her sister had also said that they were worried about her erratic behavior, as if she doesn't do this often. Because, like, to me, if I was worried about my sister's erratic behavior, but she's often doing this, I'd be like, this is a symptom of her bipolar. This is a symptom of her schizophrenia. Whatever it is, a symptom, like, she has this diagnosis and she does this a lot. I would
Right.
say that. But like, your sister is saying, I'm worried about her erratic behavior, as if that's not normal. That's something that I would be very interested in knowing, is like, what is her history with that?
How erratic was how frequent was that? And
Right,
was
because-
that hotel coordinating in a way with her behavior?
Yeah.
So she was still in university. By
Yeah,
the
she
way.
was
That's
young.
interesting. So she wasn't even like, I was wondering what her occupation was, because sometimes I would be interested in knowing her family, because, very often when you look into an individual that has a tragedy that befalls them, and there's also in conjunction some mental health issue, you will find like, oh yeah, and then very close relative was military intelligence, very close relative was this or that.
Yeah.
So I would be interested in knowing that, but that's not what I'm getting right now. Yeah, just University of British Columbia. She was a student. So yeah, what did we say? 21 years old. Bizarre, man, bizarre.
Yeah.
But I think it's just one thing that stands out in a sea of strange shit. In fact, I bet you if anybody cared to look, you would find that the people that are on the ground level there at Skid Row all have the most horrifying and supernatural testimonies. You look at the whole Kensington Avenue thing, and everybody's walking around like zombies, or not walking around, just standing and frozen in time, which you see that all the time. They're asleep standing up. And if you gave these people the time of day, if you can get any clarity out of them, I'm sure that you would get supernatural testimony after supernatural testimony after supernatural testimony. But fascinating story. It really is. And it's just one of those things I don't think we're going to get answers for. But it's interesting to hear what the Cecil Hotel has turned into,
Yeah.
which is Section 8 housing where a reverend is working.
It's not Section 8 housing anymore. Now it's just housing where, like, it's basically homeless housing run by nobody. But the reverend's there, like, doing God's work.
I would like to talk to
I was
that
just
guy.
gonna say that.
Yeah.
Imagine we could find him and he's probably busy.
He's probably.
I mean, I'm
probably
sure
super busy.
he would take some time because he's trying to bring, like, awareness to it. Like, if he can bring awareness to it, maybe he can get help.
I wonder if he would be cautious in his characterization of what he's doing, because I know if you're desperate for help, you often want to stay away from the more fantastic elements of whatever it is that you're doing, because you then narrow the doorway through which people might enter to offer you help. But yeah, that would be interesting maybe to reach out to him. Thank you, Dani. I appreciate your time. It's a fascinating episode. Before we get out of here, one more time, let's let everybody know where they can find you.
The Rabbit Hole Conspiracy Theories, and then on social media, rabbit.holepodcast, if you want to follow me. I do answer all the DMs that I get. I started putting out 2 episodes a week, but if I don't have a guest, then you only get 1 episode that week. So I didn't have a guest like last week, so Patreon didn't get an episode today, or like yesterday on Monday. So next week there will be no guest episode.
Well, we'll have to have you back in next time you have something fascinating to talk about. Reach out to us. We'll have to
I
run it
feel
back
like
again.
every single week I've got something fascinating to talk about.
Nice.
So
All right. Well, so we'll do it again soon then.
yeah,
Excellent.
absolutely.
Thank you, Dani. And
course. You guys
guys,
have a good day.
another great episode. Until next time, don't forget to obey, submit, and comply. We'll see you.